Terre Haute Mayor Sakbun joining us now. And Mayor, the City Police Department, we just talked about a little earlier, is going to go where people are not going to be able to hear them on the police scanner. Can you tell me why this change?
Yeah, so several years ago, there was litigation in different state courts that basically said, hey, you know, when it comes to scanner traffic, explore some other options because some sensitive information was being relayed on the scanners. Since then, a number of departments from across the United States have switched to tactical radio communications. What they have been doing, and we're starting this process, is creating essentially a transparency portal where they show call volume. And look, I'm not satisfied with where we're at yet on what we're doing on the website. We're going to keep tweaking it. We're going to work with some vendors to hopefully add a map or find a way to add calls every 15 minutes, screen for sensitive information. So we're not quite where we want to be with how we're relaying information. And we acknowledge that. And we're going to make some changes over the next 30 to 60 days. But it's important to note that why are we doing this? Well, one, it comes down to officer safety. It comes down to folks crowding accidents for pictures. And it comes down to the fact of, you know, when you're mayor, when you're a police chief, when you're a police officer having a conversation with a family member who found out their loved one was killed through a Facebook picture floating around on some of these anonymous news pages, that's tough. That's a tough conversation to have. That's tough information to learn. And that's another reason why nationwide you're seeing some of the changes. So a lot of these different pages, they get paid for social media engagement, and you really got to balance, okay, what is the critical information that we need to release for public safety versus someone taking advantage of a situation. So again, we are not satisfied with where we're at today.
Yes, because I do think transparency, people, you know, when they can hear it on the scanner, that promotes the transparency, and that builds public trust. And then also like real-time information. If I know that there's an accident, you know, at 3rd and Cherry, I'm going to avoid 3rd and Cherry. And people can learn that through this real-time information. So will this website be able to at least provide those things to people?
Currently not today. Currently it's showing you the information from 24 hours prior. What we are moving to is kind of closer to what you described, where an incident occurs, and then, you know, whether it's 5, 10, or 15 minutes later, then that information is on the police section of the city website. And we've looked at some other cities and what they're doing. Florida's doing some interesting things, some cities in Michigan as well as Minnesota. So there's some other examples, and there's some examples in the Hoosier State that we'll look to.
Okay, so you're just trying to get it, though, the information will be a lot faster than 24 hours.
Yep,
for sure.
That's our goal. Yeah, not happy with where we're at today, and we acknowledge that, but we're also trying to continue to update and upgrade our systems.
And we should point out, it wasn't the media who did these things that you know, no one wants to find out their loved one has died through a social media post, and we do not do that. We even cover license plates so that no one knows who they are. And so this was outside sources.
Outside, yeah.
Yes. All right, so then snowed overnight last night, snowed Saturday night. How does the city prepare when you know a snowstorm is coming in?
So traditionally what we'll do is basically 72 to 48 hours prior, depending on how much rain is going to come in, we apply a liquid brine solution, think like salt and water, to really simplify it. And then as it's about to snow...
And that keeps the snow from sticking?
It tries to, but when there's a lot of snow, there's a lot of snow. And then a couple hours prior, or right when it's really starting to snow, you'll see them drop that salt sand mix. You actually got to let that mix work a little bit, as well as a little bit of snow to accumulate before you can even plow. So there's really 3 phases to the operation. 72 to 48 hours before the snow, a couple hours before the snow / early snow, and then plowing itself. You know, 36 to 48 hours of continuous operations, that comes at a cost. That cost is anywhere from $15,000 to $25,000. So each snow brings challenges financially, but also with labor. I am happy with how we handled last night. I think we handled this weekend fairly well. And I think we improved from what happened earlier this month, which is when a little bit of snow caught us off guard. So, you know, we created some new internal systems to really hone in on how we're handling this. And we're looking to add to our snow fleet, our snow plow fleet per se. We want to get some attachments for our smaller trucks to be able to make it on some of our narrow streets and some of our other residential areas. So we're going to continue to evaluate after each snow and find opportunities to grow as a team, but also to better deliver for safe and clear streets for the citizens of Terre Haute.
And it sounds like you have different shifts then. Like everybody's not working 8 to 4 whenever you've got these snows.
Like yesterday, for example, we had the A shift, I believe. They were from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and then the B shift 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. So when we switch to 24-hour continuous operations, you have multiple shifts.
Okay, and then how do you decide which streets are first, then the second streets and the...
Yeah, so, you know, you'll frequently hear the term like mains or secondary streets or primary or secondary streets. Those are usually your kind of main routes of travel, what an ambulance would take, what a police car would take, and then you slowly move towards your side streets and your residential areas. We actually today don't have all of the equipment to hit every single street in the city of Terre Haute, so that's why we're looking to add to our capabilities to get better. It takes a couple hours to get to everyone, and I really think where we do our best work is actually at night when the streets are clear and we have some space and we can really get after it when it comes to snow removal.
You bet. You got some busy streets in Terre Haute. It's hard to plow snow and traffic's on it.
And I will say the county highway department has been great to work with. They're very upfront with their communications. I was on the phone with Commissioner Morris early this morning, kind of recapping the night, seeing what we needed to change. So it is good when your city and county are trying to work together, but ultimately they're limited on drivers and snowplows, just like we are to an extent. And I get it that folks are always going to be frustrated when it snows on those streets. But what I will say is the city and county team, they're really putting their best foot forward, and we'll continue to support them.
And not just have you guys been busy plowing streets. I know warming centers are now open. You've been working really hard to try to get the city and county to work together on warming centers, to maybe change some protocol on when to decide how to open them. How is that going, and why are you doing this?
You know, I think the current criteria, frankly, is asinine. And any responsible leader would look at the current criteria, which is 0 degrees outside or low single digits wind chill, and say, is that seriously the best we can do? So in our
because that's pretty dang cold.
That's pretty dang cold.
Yeah.
Right? And so in our warming center task force, we had a very long conversation of how do we how do we loosen that criteria so we're open more days? The city is prepared to partially fund this. The county is going to vote on this next Wednesday. And even with the city dollars, we've contacted several local organizations today and said, hey, are you ready to open? We have budgeted funding. We will help you when it comes to labor and staffing, the price side of it. And I'd really like to kind of end with on this topic, for the organizations that have warming centers, come to the table. Come to the table and say, hey, here's our staffing plan. Here's how much it opens per day. Here's how many people we can take. And we're trying to find a way to help you, but it takes all parties saying 0 degrees outside and low single digits is not acceptable for our community. I'm happy we've gotten to this point. I look forward to next Wednesday's vote with the county council. Very thankful the city council supported me. Very thankful the county commissioners heard the presentation as well. I'm not satisfied with where we're at today with warming centers. I am satisfied knowing that we're taking steps forward. I hope to get it solved here in the next couple of weeks.
And even in the warming centers that we've advertised today, we've seen churches and then other nonprofits kind of both working together on that.
Yep, the faith-based community has been great. Mental Health America has really stepped up, and we're trying to get some funding and support for pathways so they can be open at a more frequent basis. So the groups are doing what they can. We just need to have a formal process, a formal plan. I mean, that's what our residents expect. That's what our taxpayers expect, and that's what we're trying to do.
All right, well, best of luck to you on that. Mayor, always good to see you.
Always good to see you. You ready for Christmas?
I'm ready. How about you?
No, not at all. I think I bought about a fourth of the presents I need to, but we'll get there eventually.
You need to work on that, and I know you'll shop local, right?
Oh, yes.
We encourage everyone to do that. Hey, thanks so much, Mayor.
Thank you.